Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and that time is right now. Here's David Seymour. David Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill will be a turning point in the road for New Zealand. There's no doubt about that. It's a fork in the road. In my view, it's the most significant event since 1840. So here's a road with a fork. There's the left-hand road, and there is road, we call it Road A. It's tribal rule. It's a class society, Maori and the rest. It's where Maori are first class and everybody else is second class. It's one law for Maori and another one for everyone else. It's apartheid, separatism and racism. That's Road A. Road B is about democracy, equality, one law for all. It's a colourblind society. Now really, what sort of future do we want for our children and our grandchildren? That's the choice. And truly, it's going to be one or the other of those two roads, because we're headed right down Road A at the moment, and Road B is an opportunity to stop going down Road A. We have to make that critical right-hand turn. What am I talking about? Well, what is going to happen when David's bill is introduced to Parliament? There are two possible outcomes. Outcome one is that David receives unprecedented public support. Let's say he gets 300,000 supportive submissions. Now, we know that Luxon has said that he will not support the bill past the first reading. If David gets 300,000 positive submissions, Luxon will have to back down and support the bill. Why? You know what? He can't afford to go against the will of this many voters, 300,000. He knows that ignoring the will of 300,000 voters will cost him a national next election. The last election was too close to trash 300,000 voters. Luxon's not sharp, but he will know this and people will advise him. He will have to support the bill and it will become law. Wow, wouldn't that be amazing? Maori activists, we know, will protest strongly and there may even be a civil war. But I know, you know what? I go, bring it on. Let them protest. They're in the wrong. They've done the wrong thing. They've been deceitful and fraudulent and tricky for 50 years. Bring it on. Luxon will have to be strong and deal with the protesters and the protest like a real man. We haven't seen that in him yet, but let's see if it just comes out at the right moment. That is to say, he's got to be resolute. Don't appease the activists by caving in and backing down. Let's hope he doesn't do that. If this scenario wins out, then we're going to see democracy triumph. The gravy train will come to an end. Apartheid, racism and separatism will be halted, and the truth of the treaty will win. Wouldn't that be great if David's bill goes all the way? Here's outcome number two. David's bill receives little public support. Let's say he gets only, say, 30,000 supportive submissions. Luxon has said, as I've said, that he will not support the bill past the first reading. Well, if David gets 30,000 positive submissions, Luxon will calculate that he can afford to trash 30,000 voters. He'll be calculating all this. He can afford to go against the will of this many voters. 30,000 voters will not cost him a national the next election. He will not support the bill and it will not become law. What a disaster that will be. Maori activists will have been appeased. Luxon avoids the ire of Maori activists. He's terrified of them, and they know it, and he knows it, and that's what will happen. But Luxon will have to deal with the protests and the anger of the 30,000. That's us. Will this be enough to change his mind? I doubt it. He's too afraid of Maori. So if this outcome plays out, then tribal rule triumphs, the gravy train continues, apartheid, racism and separatism continue to flourish, and treaty fraud will run rampant. That's pretty much what we have now, so it'll be business as usual. So here are the stats. How did I come to the 300,000 figure as being the key number we should be aiming for? The number of positive submissions needed to sway Luxon, to get Luxon to change his mind. Well, here are the sums. The total votes cast in 2023 election was 2,851,211. National, New Zealand First and ACT received 52.08% of these votes. Labour, Greens and Te Pāti Māori received 41.59%. The difference between these blocks was 10.49%. This represents 299,092 votes. You see how I get the 300,000? What am I saying? Going by the 2023 election, if Luxon had lost 300,000 votes, he would have lost that election. He wouldn't be the Prime Minister. It's a lot of votes. 300,000 voters is too many voters to ignore. He just can't afford to lose that number of people. 300,000 votes could be the difference between winning and losing the 2026 election. All things being equal, if we can get 300,000 people to support David's bill, Luxon will be forced to support it. You know that? We're going to put his feet right in the fire by getting 300,000 people to support David's bill. So here's a summary of really where we're up to with this. There's a crisis looming for Luxon. No doubt about it. The first crisis is if he rejects David Seymour's bill, he's going to incur the wrath and anger of people who support the bill, who demand a return to equality and democracy, the end of apartheid and racism, and a return to the original intent and meaning of the treaty. The second crisis he's going to face is that if he backs down and accepts the bill, progressing it past the first reading and making it law, he's going to incur the wrath and anger of radical Maori because he has broken his promise not to progress the bill. They will milk this as a massive attack on Maori and guaranteed there'll be widespread civil unrest, and that is absolutely certain. Now, the key is this: will supporters of the bill have the guts to protest? You know what? Luxon is probably going to think that we won't protest because we don't have the guts to do it. We're too polite. We're too nice. We don't protest. We don't really show our emotions. We don't really get out on the streets and really kick up a big fuss like Maori do. To be fair to Maori, I actually admire the way they get up and they put their, they march with their feet, they express themselves, and they get out there and they make the effort to protest. We've got to take that on. The second big question is, will supporters of the bill get their magical 300,000? Because if we get that kind of number, Luxon's hand is going to be forced and it's all over. See? So it all depends on how much support we give David Seymour's bill. This is why it's got to succeed. Either way, there's a crisis ahead for Chris Luxon. Let's see what happens. Here's our strategy. The Stop Co-Governance video channel supports David's bill. It does other things as well. It teaches the truth of the treaty and exposes what the activists are up to, but it also is a big supporter of David's bill. If we can direct the public to view this channel, we can sway them to support the bill. Our big challenge, however, is that the vast majority of people in our country, and I mean over 95% of them, are completely unaware of how important this bill is. They have no idea that our country is at a fork in the road. So how can we reach this mass of people? There are many strategies, but we believe we have one in particular which is fantastic. It involves leaving business cards on cars. It's simple, cheap, and effective. It involves having no contact with anyone. So if you're an introvert, this is perfect for you. Anyone can do it, from a child right up to an elderly person. Go to the description of this video and look for the business card strategy to support David Seymour's bill. It's in the description of this video. How it works: there are 6 steps. Step 1, order your cards. Step 2, you start distributing your cards on cars, letterboxes, or wherever. Step number 3, the person receiving them either throws the card away or goes to our YouTube channel. Step number 4, they start watching the videos. See that guy watching the video. Step number 5, they subscribe to our YouTube channel and they are awakened. That is the key. Step number 6, at the right time they make submissions to David's bill when the time comes to do that. That is the goal. So here are the numbers. The government is set to start receiving submissions mid-2025 for this bill. We have 11 months to garner support. That's roughly 335 days. If we get 2,000 people giving out 2 cards a day, that's 4,000 cards per day going out. Times 335, that's 1.34 million cards. Now seriously, giving out 2 cards a day is going to be a dawdle. If only 20% of the people receiving a card sign up and they're awakened, that gives us 268,000 people to support the bill. With all the other organizations supporting the bill, we'll get our magical 300,000 without any doubt whatsoever. You remember what Henry Ford said? He said, coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. I can't do this on my own. You can't do it on your own, but if we work together, you know what? We can do this. What could stop us getting 300,000 submissions? Well, apathy. I can't be bothered. I'll leave it to others, as a lot of people think like that. Laziness. Putting cards on cars is work. No thanks. Fear. What happens if someone sees me? No thanks. Hey, you can do it at night time. You can do it when nobody's watching. Don't worry about it. Finance. I can't afford to buy cards at 3 cents each. No thanks. Well, if you're one of those people, we'll help you. Ignorance. Seymour's bill is not important to me. No thanks. That's what an unawakened person would say. Busyness. I'm too busy to put cards on cars. No thanks. It's really no excuse. I mean, how long does a card take to put on a car? 2 seconds, maybe? Miscalculation. We have plenty of time to get people on board. Relax, man. Don't worry about it. No, we don't. We're running out of time. We only have 11 months. Procrastination. I'll get around to it one day, perhaps tomorrow. There's a lot of people like that too. We can all be like that. Don't worry about that. So the time is now. It's for action. And it's the time to put all our excuses away and get going. So don't delay. Pick up the phone right now and ring Vicky. Call her on 021 029 85419. She's a really neat lady. They are 3 cents each plus courier. That's not Vicky, that's the cards. Thanks for watching. We can do this, you guys. Thank you for buying cards for those who've already bought them. We've had a massive response already, but we need to get 2,000 people up and running. I'll see you in the next video. Let's go for this and make it happen. Please share this video with everyone everywhere. The mainstream media should be reporting on the issues I am raising in these videos, but they're not. Why aren't they? Well, they're corrupt. Why are they corrupt? They are collaborating with Maori activists. There's no doubt about that. In the final analysis, the people of New Zealand, that's us, have ultimate power, not the politicians. Did you know that? The people can kick out the people in power and they can put them into power. How are we going to do that? Well, awareness is the key to change. If enough people in New Zealand become aware of the issues I am raising, we can save this beautiful country. So share these videos everywhere so that come the next election, we can vote the right people in and kick out the people who are destroying New Zealand.